Anime endings can make or break a series, but some, let's just say the writer shattered it into a million pieces, and not in a good way. I'm gonna ask you to keep your hats on, because some of these endings might just annoy you all over again. In today's video, we'll be counting down the 10 worst anime endings that left us in not so great shape. Starting at number 10, we have Darling in the Franxx. This anime started as a promising mix of mecha action, romance, and, the good stuff like existential dread. The first half had us hooked with its unique premise: teenagers piloting giant robots to save humanity, all while introducing us to complex relationships. How could this go wrong, right? Hero and Zero Two's tragic love story was the heart of the show, and their chemistry kept us invested. But then, out of nowhere, the show decided to take a hard left into space alien territory. Yes, space aliens. The final arc abandoned everything that made the series special, replacing it with a convoluted mess of cosmic nonsense. The ending? Hero and Zero Two sacrificed themselves to save humanity, only to be reincarnated as space children millions of years later. It was supposed to be poetic, but instead it felt like a slap in the face to fans who had invested in the characters' emotional journeys. The rushed pacing and lack of closure left us wondering why we had even cared in the first place. Darling in the Franxx had so much potential, but its ending was a cosmic disaster. Up next, we have Soul Eater. And let me tell you, this anime was a visual masterpiece. It did a fantastic job blending gothic aesthetics with shonen action. The story of Maka, Soul, and their friends battling evil creatures to protect their world was thrilling, and the show's unique art style made it stand out. But that ending? Oh boy! After 50 episodes of build-up, the final showdown with the Kishin was supposed to be epic. Instead, we got a single punch. Yes, one punch. They're stealing your moves, Saitama. Maka defeats the Kishin by believing in herself? It was a classic case of friendship conquers all, but it felt like such a lazy cop-out. The manga's ending was far more satisfying, with a proper battle and resolution, but the anime chose to wrap things up with a rushed, half-baked finale. The emotional payoff we deserved? Nowhere to be found. What made this anime such a sorry thing to watch was, for starters, it completely undermined the stakes. The Kishin was built up as this unstoppable force of chaos, but his defeat felt unearned and anticlimactic. The show also sidelined key characters like Death the Kid and Black Star, reducing their roles to mere spectators. And don't even get me started on the lack of closure for Maka and Soul's relationship. What was the point of all that build-up if it went nowhere? What did the fans want? That's easy. Just follow the manga! The manga's ending delivered a proper final battle, with every character getting their moment to shine. It also provided a satisfying resolution to the Kishin arc, and tied up loose ends in a way that felt earned. This anime had the blueprint for greatness, but chose to take a shortcut instead. Soul Eater's ending will forever get on anime fans' nerves all over the world. Moving on to number 8, we have Death Note. And boy, does this one particularly get on my nerves. Death Note is a masterpiece of psychological thriller anime. Until the last 5 episodes. Light Yagami's descent into madness was a very beautiful thing to watch. And the cat and mouse game between him and L, pure genius. Now, what made this anime fall off was L dying. After L's death, the show introduced Nier and Mello, and things started to go downhill. The final showdown in the warehouse was supposed to be the ultimate climax, but it fell flat. Light, the brilliant strategist, suddenly turned into a bumbling idiot, screaming like a maniac before meeting his anticlimactic end. The show spent 30 episodes building him up as an unstoppable force, only to have him trip over his own ego. The rushed pacing and lack of emotional depth in the finale left fans disappointed. It just felt like the choices made by the writers and directors could have been way better. For starters, L dying just seems very far-fetched. Nier and Mello were poor substitutes for L. While L was a complex, charismatic rival, Nier felt like a bland imitation, and Mello was underutilized. The final confrontation lacked the tension and intellectual depth that made the earlier episodes so compelling. Light's downfall, while inevitable, felt rushed and unsatisfying. Instead of a clever, well-earned defeat, we got a chaotic meltdown that undermined his character. Let's say they wanted L to die by all means. The show should have given Nier and Mello more development to make them worthy successors to L. The final battle could have been a battle of wits, not just a chaotic scramble. And Light's death? It should have been way more poetic, reflecting the tragic fall of a once great mind. Instead, we got whatever that was for an ending. At number 7, we have Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul started as a dark, gritty tale of survival and identity, with Kaniki's transformation into a half-ghoul serving as the emotional core of the story. But it decided to take a detour into what even is this territory? The anime strayed so far from the manga that it became unrecognizable. Kaniki's character development was thrown out the window. And the final fight between him and Arima was a confusing mess of flashbacks and vague symbolism. At some point, you have no idea what or when you're watching. It was like the writers just gave up and said, good enough. Fans of the manga were especially frustrated as the anime skipped over key plot points and character arcs. Tokyo Ghoul had so much potential, but the ending was a ghoulish disaster. Don't take my word for it. Just ask any anime fan you can find. Moving on to number 6. Neon Genesis Evangelion is a classic, but let's be real, the original ending was a hot mess. After 24 episodes of mecha battles and psychological drama, the finale devolved into a surreal, abstract mind screw that left everyone scratching their heads. The show's budget issues were evident, and the ending felt like a cop-out. Instead of a proper resolution, we got a series of cryptic monologues and bizarre imagery that left more questions than answers. The end of Evangelion movie tried to fix things, but the damage was already done. The original ending was so confusing that fans still debate its meaning to this day. In some ways, Evangelion was iconic, but the ending, a confusing letdown. Coming in at number 5 is Attack on Titan. And for a lot of people, this one's debatable, but it's making the list anyway. Ha! Attack on Titan was a cultural phenomenon, blending brutal action, political intrigue, and existential dread. For years, it kept us on the edge of our seats with its twists and moral complexity. But that ending? Whoo boy! After a decade of buildup, the finale left fans divided. Eren's decision to become a genocidal maniac was shocking, but his sudden pivot to, I did it for my friends, felt inconsistent with his character. The final battle was epic, but the resolution, where Mikasa kills Eren and ends the Titan curse, felt rushed and unsatisfying. The epilogue, with Paradise destroyed despite Eren's sacrifices, was bleak but also confusing. Did Eren's actions even matter? The show tried to tie everything up with a neat bow, but it left more questions than answers. What could have been done better? The ending needed more time to breathe. A longer finale or an extra episode could have fleshed out Eren's motivations and given the supporting cast more closure. The manga's controversial ending was already polarizing, but the anime's adaptation didn't do enough to address the criticisms. Attack on Titan was a masterpiece. Until it wasn't. At number 4, we have The Promised Neverland. Now, giving credit where credit is due, I must admit that Season 1 was a masterpiece of suspense. It blended horror with its gripping story of children escaping a dystopian orphanage. But Season 2 was a total train wreck. The anime skipped entire arcs from the manga, rushing through the story at breakneck speed. The ending? A montage. Yes, they gave us an actual montage! Instead of showing the kid's journey to freedom, the finale fast-forwarded through key events, leaving fans baffled and frustrated. The emotional depth and tension that made Season 1 so compelling were completely absent. What made the ending so bad was, it felt like the writers gave up. The manga's Goldie Pond arc and other key moments were cut, robbing the story of its heart. The rushed pacing made it impossible to care about the characters or their struggles. What could have been done better? It's simple. Once again, stay with the manga! A full Season 2 and a Season 3 could have given the story the time it needed to shine. Instead, we got a rushed mess that tarnished the series' legacy. And at number 3, we have Sword Art Online. The anime has always been divisive, but the Alicization arc had potential. The war of the underworld started strong, with high stakes and emotional moments. But the ending? Pfft, a mess. Kirito's sudden God Mode comeback felt unearned, and the final battle with Gabriel was underwhelming. The resolution, where everyone wakes up in the real world, was sweet, but rushed. The show's habit of sidelining its female characters also continued, with Asuna and others reduced to cheerleaders. Why was the ending so bad? It relied too much on Kirito's plot armor and didn't give the other characters a chance to shine. The emotional beats felt hollow because the stakes were resolved too easily. What they could have done better was give the supporting cast more agency and let the final battle feel earned. A more balanced approach to character development could have made the ending more satisfying. Now this anime is probably one of the ones with the worst ending out there. At number 2, we have Akame ga Kill. This was a brutal, no-holds-barred anime where no character was safe. But the ending? A bloodbath with no payoff. The final battle was intense, but the sheer number of deaths felt unnecessary. Tatsumi's transformation into a dragon and his happy ending with Mine felt unearned, especially after so much loss. The show's attempt to balance tragedy and hope fell flat, leaving fans emotionally drained but not satisfied. What made the anime's ending feel so hollow was that it prioritized shock value over storytelling. The deaths felt meaningless, and the rushed resolution undermined the emotional weight of the series. What could have made the anime better was fewer deaths, and more focus on character development could have made the ending more impactful. A slower pace and a clearer thematic message would have helped too. Akame ga Kill did nothing but basically be a killjoy. Lastly, at number 1, we have School Days. If any anime is infamous for its train wreck ending, it's this one, and for good reason too. What started as a seemingly generic harem anime quickly devolved into a dark, twisted tale of obsession and betrayal. The ending? A blood-soaked masterpiece of chaos. Makoto's selfish actions finally caught up with him, and the fallout was brutal. But while the shock value was high, the ending felt unearned. The characters were so unlikable that it was hard to care about their fates. The anime relied too much on shock value and didn't provide any meaningful resolution. The characters' actions felt exaggerated, making the ending more absurd than impactful. The ending couldn't have been more of a dumpster fire than it was. And there you have it for the top 10 anime with the worst endings. Did we leave anything out? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out more videos like these on our channel. Until next time.